Okay, what is up you guys? So I'm just going to go ahead and get straight to the point and give you guys some much needed tips that are going to help you along on your trailblazing journey in Honkai Star Rail. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Trailblaze power. And if you come over here into your inner astral guide, you'll come across these things along your progression throughout the story called calyxes. And this first one, the golden calyx, is going to be your daily essentials, so things that you need for leveling up your units or leveling up your light cones, and if you're in need of credits, you can farm your credits out as well. Okay, so somewhat early, you're going to have to level up your Trailblaze level in order to progress further in the story, and what I would suggest is just farming one of these golden calyxes for either materials to level up your units or your light cones. The credits you won't really need so much early on because things are pretty inexpensive. But let's move on to the crimson calyx, and this is where you're going to get your trace materials to upgrade the skills of your units. So these will become pretty important as you get a little further into the story. It's the only way to make your units' abilities much more powerful than they are at the base. Now, eventually, you're going to unlock these things called stagnant shadows. Now, this is how you're going to get your ascension materials, and you can only do this after your first equilibrium, and this is how you are going to get the materials necessary for raising your unit's level cap. Okay, so Cavern of Corrosion, this is where you farm your relic sets. I wouldn't suggest really doing this until you are pretty set, and that won't be until you're about Trailblaze level 40 plus, and even then it's still somewhat arguably questionable. But essentially, you don't want to worry about these sets for a good while. Now, Echo of War is going to be something you come across after you finish major points in the story. These give really important materials, these right here, to unlock certain traces for your units. So you will have to do these. And Forgotten Hall is something you're going to unlock along your progression in the story. Okay, so I know I just named off a lot of things and gave brief descriptions of what they do and what they're for, but we'll go back into them here in a second. But secondly, let's go ahead and go to the simulated universe, which is where I am right now. Now, the simulated universe is going to be where you farm these sets, and there's also a lot of things that you can unlock here. So you're going to start off on World 1, and I would suggest grinding this out for a little bit. You get these extra drops, and as you get further and further into the story, you will unlock more worlds to traverse through, and you're going to have this current score. This is your weekly score, so every week this score is going to reset for simulated universe. But what I would suggest, and I didn't do this, this is a mistake that I made, but use the currency you get to get these light cones first, and then get the superimposers for them before you start getting a bunch of passes. I was an idiot, and I have been getting a bunch of passes. Don't do this. Okay, so in addition to receiving weekly rewards for your current score in the simulated universe, there are things that you need to know in order to get through the simulated universe, and those things are pass, blessings, and curios. So paths are the type of build that you're going to be selecting before you enter a world to traverse through the simulated universe. Blessings are basically buffs that are attached to different paths that you can select before entering a world. And curios are alternative buffs or items that have pretty interesting effects, and I would suggest trying out different ones. And there are also a bunch of rewards that you can get from selecting new ones, which will be indicated by a blue book up in the top right corner. And each time you select a new one that you haven't used before, you will get jade and stuff through the index and curios. Alright, so once you unlock World 3, you're going to be able to claim these immersion rewards, which are going to be the 2 other equipable relics, and those are called your planars. So in order to claim these immersion rewards, you need to have 40 Trailblaze power or one of these immersifier items. And the cool thing about these immersifiers is, let's say that you don't have enough time in your day to be able to go through and grind a world within the simulated universe. Well, not to worry. You can come here and click on this immersifier icon, and you can actually trade 40 Trailblaze power to turn into one of these immersifier tokens. And you can just essentially build them up and then use them when you do have time to go through one of the worlds in simulated universe. Alright, so that's enough about the simulated universe. I know that was kind of a lot to take in, but feel free to go back and watch over it as much as you need to. It is a lot of information to retain, but I promise you it's worth knowing if you want to invest any sort of time into this game. But let's go ahead and move on to warps. So when you start the game and you're able to warp for the first time, you're going to have this thing called the starter banner. And I no longer have it because I had to go to my 50th pull to get my guaranteed 5-star. But essentially it's how you're going to get your guaranteed 5-star. Now, what you want to do if you happen to pull your 5-star before the 50th pull is you want to stop pulling on that banner and start investing your silver tickets into the standard banner here. Now, the only time you want to expend your jade, especially if you're free to play, is for these limited time banners. So currently our limited banner is Sela, and you want to save up your gold tickets and your stellar jade to just basically go in on these banners. If you are not looking to get Sela, then great, you can just save your jade for Jing Yuan, who is coming after Sela, or you can just save it for whatever you want whenever you feel like you want to pull on a limited banner. But you basically just want to save up your gold tickets and your stellar jade and use your silver tickets on the standard banner. Don't actually throw any jade into this. Obviously, if you're a whale, this doesn't really pertain to you. Whales are gonna whale. But for free-to-play players, make sure you're investing your currency correctly. Okay, so in association with warping, let's hop on over into the store really quick, and I just want to show you guys some things real quick. So, Starlight Exchange, you're going to get this currency whenever you warp, and you get dupes. That's what this is. The Embers Exchange, you're going to get this whenever you do pulls, and don't neglect this, especially because every month all the items in here are going to reset. So you can get 5 gold tickets and 5 silver tickets and they cost 90 embers each, and it's pretty awesome. If you're not utilizing your embers currency, then you need to, because this shop resets every month, so make use of it, especially if you need materials or credits, whatever it may be. It's a pretty big help. It's been a huge help to me, so be sure to make use of it. Okay, this next bit of advice is especially helpful if you're free to play, and we're going to be talking about units that are going to be good to invest into and I personally think are pretty great. And in the making of this video, I got a friend request. Also, if you want to add me, feel free to use my ID and look me up, and I'll accept as many of you as I can. Would love to help as many players as I possibly can. Alright, so March 7th is a great unit. I love her so much. In fact, I loved her so much I refused to use a healer until I hit World 5, which is a bit after Drillel 6. That's kind of a while. I went a long time without using a healer. I love this unit. She is great, and she's just so adorable. I really love her design. But she's a great unit to invest into. She has shields, and when I was talking about traces earlier, this is it. So, using March 7th as an example, you'll see that you need materials to level them up. Also, you want to level this for March 7th, Purify, as quickly as possible. It will turn her E, which is her shield ability, into a cleanse. So that's pretty great. I find a lot of value in that. Alright, our next unit is MC, of course. MC is a great unit to invest into. I actually love the MC in this game a lot. I think that MC-chan is really cool. So it's not a waste to invest into the main character. So be sure to do it. Next is Natasha. Don't be like me and neglect her for as long as possible, which is what I did. But she is a great healer, and you should definitely invest into her when you can. Now, Asta you get pretty early, and I think that she is a great fire unit. I think she's very underrated because the things that this unit is capable of are pretty sick. But this is definitely a unit you should invest into. Everyone should have Serval. She is a pretty good erudition damage dealer and has really good AoE, so it's not a waste to build her up. And she's also lightning element, so that's pretty useful as well. Dan Heng, pretty great unit in my opinion. I think that he can hit pretty hard, and it is definitely not a waste to invest in this unit. But essentially, you want to invest in those 5. So MC, March 7th, Asta, and Serval, and Dan Heng. These units will take you a long way through the game. Alright, so do you guys remember me mentioning Trailblaze level earlier? Well, essentially throughout the story there are going to be segments where it's going to bar you from progressing further in the story until you raise your Trailblaze level. As you can see, my Trailblaze level is 41 currently, and if we come over here and talk to Pom Pom, as you level your Trailblaze level, you can come and talk to Pom Pom and ask him, how's my Trailblaze level? And as you level, Each level has different rewards, as you can see. But be sure to claim all of these, especially if you're free to play. These are pretty helpful. And you get a bunch of tickets and Stellar Jade and a lot of great stuff to level your units and light cones, and you even get pieces of gear. So please, please, please don't forget to do this. Okay, so coming back to Echo of War, basically what these are weekly bosses, and you can do 3 a week and they'll reset on Monday. But basically, as you can see as it's labeled, advanced trace materials and light cones. So you'll need these as you get up into the higher levels to bring them even higher, and that's what these materials are for. Now, Forgotten Hall is something you're going to unlock along the way through your story progression, and let's waltz on over there really quick. Alright, so this is the Forgotten Hall, and basically what this is a series of challenges that you go through, and for every 3 stars you obtain, you can claim 200 Stellar Jade along with 20,000 credits, which is absolutely huge, especially if you're free to play. That's a lot of free Jade. As you progress and get deeper into the levels, you'll see you'll actually need 2 teams to get through this. So at the very least, eventually you're going to have 8 units built up. But Forgotten Hall is pretty nice, especially when you need Jade. Alright, and there you have it, all the essentials you need for trailblazing efficiently. So, if you made it this far, then thanks so much for watching. I really hope it was helpful. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and if you disliked it, well, you know what to do. So, this was my first time making any sort of Honkai Star Rail guide in any sense. I just wanted to get my bearings on the game and the fundamentals first before I made any sort of guide. So I'm sorry if this is a bit jumbled, but I do hope that it was helpful. But thanks so much for watching. If you have any further questions, be sure to drop them down in the comment section down below. I would love to talk to you guys and help you out on our way to 1K. And yeah, I'll be sure to see you Trailblazers later. See you in the next one. Toodaloo.